This is the untold story about the daughters of Adam and Eve. Who were these daughters? What is the importance of them to the Bible and today, right? Look, I promise you stay with me till the end. It's really worth it. Understand and learn more about this story. Come with me in the video.
Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. The Bible asserts that Adam and Eve are the progenitors of all humanity and that they had 3 sons, Cain, Abel, and Seth. But how did other human beings emerge from these 5 central figures? It's worth noting that in Genesis chapter 4, verse 17, the sacred scriptures mention that Cain knew his wife,
Cain,
who conceived
Abel, and
and
Seth.
bore Enoch. Cain was building a city and called it Enoch in honor of his son. So I ask you, could this mysterious woman whom Cain married be one of the daughters of Adam and Eve? Today, let's uncover everything about Adam and Eve's daughters, who they were, why they are not mentioned in the Bible, and how they contributed to the propagation of the human race. As usual, I ask for your like, subscription to the
One
channel,
good question.
and let's get into the video. The untold story of Adam and Eve's daughters. The biblical narrative often focuses on the story of Cain and Abel,
And already
2 of
subscribed
Adam and
to the
Eve's
channel.
most well-known
Right
sons.
on the channel. Send
This
your question
tendency
and your
sometimes
comment
obscures
is.
the presence and trajectories of the other sons and daughters of this first human family. While Cain and Abel play crucial events, such as the fateful sacrifice episode, it's essential to shift our gaze to the lesser-mentioned children in order to gain a fuller understanding of Adam and
It's
Eve's
King Abel.
descendants. The Bible,
Everyone already
in
knows.
Genesis 5, verse 4, mentions that Adam and Eve had other sons and daughters besides Cain and Abel. However, details about these sons and daughters are sparse, and the narrative mainly delves into the events involving Cain and Abel. This creates a gap in understanding the experiences and destinies of the other family members, whose lives also played significant roles in shaping the fabric of human
It's
history.
true.
By exploring these forgotten stories, we can understand the diversity of destinies and paths taken by Adam and Eve's children. This more comprehensive approach provides a richer insight into humanity's descent and allows us to appreciate the complexity of family relationships and individual journeys. Each son and daughter, even if not the focal point in the Bible, uniquely contributed to the propagation of the human race on Earth. It's interesting how Jewish and Christian
Let's go, Emmy.
traditions often
Let's
overlook
try
the
to
stories
understand.
of certain characters, giving more prominence to the more dramatic narratives. The absence of specific names in the Bible for Adam and Eve's daughters contributes to their stories being marginalized, keeping them anonymous, while Cain and Abel take center stage. On the other hand, it is perfectly understandable
cloud
that the
she
Bible
gives.
cannot address the lives
Placed
of
in the
all
most
characters.
important part, any.
It is practically
Not many
impossible
foreign
to
stories
encompass the vastness of
Are not
information
deepened.
from the creation of the world to the end of times in a single book. In this sense, secondary books emerged, such as the Book of Jubilees, which, although not widely recognized, emerges as an alternative source exploring details about some lesser-known figures, including the daughters of Adam
It's
and
true.
Eve.
Can't say it all.
These forgotten characters provide a broader perspective on the extensive offspring of the first couple. However, it is crucial to emphasize that
Never
the
heard
Book
of.
of Jubilees is considered apocryphal, meaning it is not part of the official canon of the Jewish or Christian Bible. In simple terms, it is not considered sacred scripture by the major religious traditions, mainly due to the lack of consensus on its authorship and origin, as well as interpretations that diverge from the more accepted versions. Nevertheless, the historical
It's one book
relevance
that
of
is
the Book
not
of
part of the
Jubilees
Bible.
cannot be underestimated. It offers a unique view of the events narrated in Genesis, especially those related to the creation of the world, Adam and Eve,
It's
and other
complicated.
characters of the Old Testament.
Have to be careful with that there.
Its nickname,
Already
Little
writes on the
Genesis,
personal channel.
reflects
Don't
its
forget
direct
to write no.
connection to the events and figures described in the Book of Genesis. This apocryphal book provides a detailed interpretation of history, going beyond what we find in the Bible, including citing the names of the daughters of Adam and Eve and detailing their lives. This narrative is especially valuable for some Jewish and Christian communities seeking additional understanding of key events from the Old Testament. Knowing this, as we explore the records
how
of the Book of
interesting.
Jubilees in search of the names of the daughters of Adam and Eve, we encounter the characters Kelima and Azura, identified as the wives of Cain and Seth,
Very
respectively.
interesting.
In the Book of Genesis, more precisely in chapter 4, verses 16 and 17, we find the following account. Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. Later, Cain built a city and named it after Enoch in honor of his son. In some Jewish traditions, Kelema, also known as Avan, is recognized as the wife of Cain, the firstborn of Adam and Eve. Exploring these secondary sources, such as the Book of Jubilees, provides a richer and more detailed perspective on the early times of humanity and the offspring of Adam and Eve, expanding our understanding of these biblical figures and their contributions to the propagation of the human race. Her name, though not recorded in the Bible, is mentioned in apocryphal texts like the Book of Jubilees. The etymology of the name, often associated with Hebrew or Phoenician, suggests meanings like vice or power. As Cain's wife, her name may symbolize the strength or influence she exerts in the lineage initiated by Adam and Eve's firstborn. At the same time, the connotation of vice may reflect the challenges faced by Cain and Kelema amidst the adverse circumstances of their lives. After his exile, Cain found Avan, and the biblical narrative highlights that he founded the city of Enoch, naming it in honor of his son. The Book of Jubilees also mentions this city as one of Cain's accomplishments after the tragic incident involving Abel. When presented alongside Cain, Avan emerges as an essential link in the lineage, becoming a central figure in significant events following Cain's banishment due to the murder of Abel. While it is true that the texts of the Holy Bible do not identify Cain's wife or reveal her origin, if we trace Genesis up to the point of Cain's banishment and his encounter with the mentioned woman, only a few characters are cited, including Adam, Eve, and their sons Abel and Seth. However, it is important to consider that when Cain united with Avan, the earth was already quite populated. By this point in the story, there were certainly more than just 5 individuals, including other women besides Eve. Some suggestions indicate that Cain's wife could have been his niece, the daughter of Seth. This idea is based on the long period between Cain's exile in the land of Nod and his encounter with Avan. Some theologians admit that this interval lasted about 300 years. During this period, it is estimated that the number of Adam's sons and daughters exceeded 50, while Seth's children numbered over 20. We can conclude that in the time of Cain, Seth, and the other children of Adam and Eve, it was common for them to marry each other, including siblings or nieces, as humanity was starting from a single couple. When Cain decided to marry, there were several sisters and nieces available, which made it easier to find a consanguineous wife. This practice of marrying close relatives persisted for a long time. The Bible makes it clear that the entire human race descends from Adam and Eve, and any contrary theory lacks biblical foundation, as expressed in Acts 17:26. From one man he made all the nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth, and he marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. This perspective clarifies the dynamics of relationships at the time and the formation of humanity from a single original couple. The practice of marrying a sister or niece was socially acceptable.
It was normal
in this
to marry a
initial
relative.
context of humanity. It is crucial to understand that the laws prohibiting marriage between close relatives, as established in the Mosaic Law, were instituted long after the events involving Adam and Eve, approximately 2,500 years later. These laws were part of the covenant with Moses, setting ethical and moral standards for the Israelite community. Only with the significant increase in population was the prohibition of sexual relations between close relatives implemented to prevent negative consequences, such as the risk of genetic defects and health problems resulting from consanguineous mating. The other daughter of Adam and Eve, detailed in the Book of Jubilees and known as Azura, is recognized as the wife of Seth, the couple's third son. Her symbolic association with the blue sky, or lapis lazuli, suggests a celestial purity, and her name reflects the uniqueness she represents in the narrative. As Seth's wife, Azura directly influences the continuity of the righteous lineage, contributing to the preservation of the virtues and values desired in biblical genealogy. It is important to remember that Seth was born after Abel's death, and Eve believed he was appointed by God to establish a new offspring, replacing Abel, killed by Cain. According to these traditions, Azura was initially
Number.
Abel's wife and became
Look
a
here.
widow after his death. Later she married Seth, and from this union came notable descendants. Seth is a key figure in biblical genealogy, playing a significant role in the continuity of the righteous lineage after the tumultuous
There are
episode
many
involving
characters.
Cain. His union with
Important
Azura
that we do not know
resulted
the
in
story.
contributions that shaped key events in the Bible. Among Seth's sons, Enosh stands out, whose name means frail man. Enosh is recognized for being the first to develop the custom of invoking the name of the Lord,
Look that.
establishing
how
a spiritual connection that would become a central practice in subsequent religious traditions. In addition to Enosh, Enoch, son of Jared, is one of the notable personalities of this lineage. Enoch is known for his exceptional closeness to God, to the extent that he walked with him, according to biblical accounts. His life of righteousness and communion
He is
with the
very
divine
famous.
stands out as a unique contribution, representing an example of devotion that transcended his time. Due to these factors, Enoch was one of the only human beings who did not experience
Enoch was
death,
famous. Was
being
snatched.
taken up to God. However, one of the most striking contributions of Seth's lineage is Noah, the righteous builder of the ark during the flood. Noah, son of Lamech and descendant of Seth, was chosen by God to preserve humanity and the diversity of creatures
All
during
related,
the global
right?
cataclysm.
7
His
Noah.
obedience and faith, recorded in the flood narrative, outline the importance
Same.
of Seth's lineage in fulfilling divine plans for humanity's redemption. Each individual in this lineage played a crucial role in building the human legacy and preserving faith and justice amidst the challenges faced by their generations. Religious traditions, especially when exploring the lineages of Cain and Abel, in contrast to Seth and Azura, offer an intriguing duality in the human condition, expressed through moral and spiritual choices. Cain, as the firstborn of Adam and Eve, embodies a trajectory marked by choices that reflect human failure. In contrast, the lineage of Seth and Azura offers a narrative of moral and spiritual choices more aligned with divine will. These two lineages, despite their striking differences, have their importance and reflect the inherent duality of the human condition, with moral and spiritual choices shaping the destiny of subsequent generations. It is
What a
important
pity.
to emphasize that the Book of Jubilees is considered apocryphal,
Understood.
meaning it is not officially recognized by the major religious traditions, both Jewish and Christian. All this information regarding the daughters of Adam and Eve may vary according to different interpretations and religious beliefs. One
It's
curious
one book that is not
interpretation, for
part of the
example,
Bible.
occurs in Islam. According to Islamic tradition, both Cain and Abel had a twin sister each, who became their respective
I'm
wives
recording.
as
Go
they grew
there.
up. According to the Book of Generations, their names were Balbira and Kalmana. These sisters would play a role in the discontent that generated
God,
the
date
conflict
to door,
between
please.
the brothers, as Cain was dissatisfied with his partner. These conflicts evolved and culminated in Cain killing Abel, but that's a topic for another video. Now I want to hear from you. Did you know that Adam and Eve had daughters? Do you think the information contained
More
in the
characters.
Book of Jubilees is true?
Important. Look just how
Leave your
interesting.
opinions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and click on one of the videos that will appear on the screen to keep watching us. May God bless, and see you soon.
They are stories from books that are not in the Bible, right? But it is interesting to know. Study because they are also proven to be real books. What did you think of this video? Subscribes to the channel, comment down here and share. See you in the next videos and even more. God bless.